Turn it back that down. Where did it go? Where did it go? One 32. He got long enough. He's doing really well. He got first place. We're good. How are you doing? That's true. We signed up. Huh? That first? You didn't have to do ID. That's right. Well, you're able to do it. I'm ready to step for you too. We did
raise your hand or something.
Oh, yeah. Is the big plan in here? That's what we'll well, we got make these.
Right? And more submission training. Just keep that stuff, right? Good. No worries. No worries. Yeah, I know. Before we start, if anybody's here for a zoning matter, we don't have microphones up here. This is normally not our room that we're in. If you'd like to move up towards the front so you can hear better, please do so. Good. I'll call this meeting to order, Madison County Board of Commissioners agenda setting work session, December 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. First off, I'll start off with Chairman report, and I'll be brief. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, enjoy the time with the family. I also would like to thank tonight the University of Georgia for having their students come out and sit in on one of our meetings. We greatly appreciate having y'all. Y'all welcome anytime. As far as the chairman's report goes, I'm gonna keep it pretty brief. Gentlemen, we are completing, Scout Hut Road. That should be done, waiting on Georgia Power to move the last two poles now. That's supposed to be done Thursday. We should have that, completed by the end of the week, if that stays on schedule. The fire training facility, concrete pour that was scheduled for this week due to the weather will be postponed until, Monday. This coming Monday, there'll be a midnight pour, so if people ride up down Carpet Indianville Road around midnight, you wonder what the lights is, that's what we're doing, pouring concrete around the fire training facility. Business involving guest groups and multiple visitors. We'll start off with public hearing and actions on zoning matters. Mr. Canoa Scott.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our first one tonight was Myron Bates is requesting to rezone his 12.45 acres from A2 to B to operate a mobile home dealership. The property is located at 5518 Highway 29 South in Carver, map 44, parcel 190 in District 3. During the public hearing, no one came forward to speak in favor of this particular rezone request. Nobody came forward to speak in opposition to. After much discussion, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners with the stated conditions as all businesses have to adhere to.
All right, thank you, sir. There's no special conditions, just a standard condition.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request?
I'll speak in favor of the rezone request. I think putting this into a business district for the county, we need more taxes in the county, and turning it into a business would help the county with taxes for income purposes. I think it's in a good area on Main Highway 29.
All right, state your name and address for the record, please.
Jay Pridgham, 536 Brattonville Drive, Hall, Georgia.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that this, request be approved with the stated conditions from planning and zoning. And add a condition that if the use of the property changes or if there's a division of parcels, that the owner shall seek BOC approval.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner May. Do I have a second, gentlemen?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Shannon. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a second request was withdrawal, so I'll move on to number 3. Jeffrey DeLoach, applicant and attorney for Mary Gaines, is requesting to rezone her 16.9 acres from A2 to AR to allow 3 5.63 splits for home sites for her and her 2 children. The property is located on 0 Brentwood Road in Danielsville on map 22, parcel 1101 in District 2. After much discussion in the planning and zoning, no one came forward in favor of this particular request, although there were 5 people to oppose this particular rezoning request. After much discussion and listening to the applicant and listening to the people opposed, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval. The Planning and Zoning, following zoning regs as well as looking at the comp plan, could find no reason to disapprove this request. So therefore, it was a 6-0 vote to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Before I open this one up, I wanna make note, we have a long meeting, and all comments will be held at 3 minutes, and I'll do that for everybody in tonight's meeting, due to there may be so many people who wanna come forward on different topics. So anyone here to speak in opposition of this rezone request? Yeah, for the applicant, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be, try to be brief. My name is Jeff DeLoach, 1220 Langford Drive, Building 200 in Watkinsville, Georgia. I am an attorney in Watkinsville representing Ms. German, with this application. I appreciate the opportunity to work with staff. And again, you've heard the recommendation from the Planning Commission. They were thoughtful in considering and understanding the nature of what was around this property. Ms. Patrick did a thorough job in her analysis, which is in front of you. You'll see that there was nothing in her analysis that suggested any problem with this rezoning request. In fact, she identifies that there's ample road frontage and that this was denied previously for what was a technical issue, which was that there was an attempt to subdivide it within a 3-year period of a previous subdivision, which was not permitted. To get straight to the point about the location, directly across from this location on Drakewoods Road, if you go from east to west, you have 7 lots between 5 and 6 acres. And what we are asking for here is exactly what is across the street from them. And if you go further down, you have a little bit further down in that AR zone area, you have lots much smaller, as small as 2 acres. Again, we are asking for 3 lots on almost 17 acres. This is actually not, this was not in the application, and I don't know how the board wants to handle this. Our intent is just 3 lots. While you could get 4 in AR on this tract of land, that is not what we're asking for. So we're fine with the commission putting a condition that either every lot has to be 5 acres or that you can have no more than 3 lots. But the intent is for Ms. German and her husband to build a house and to have a place where their two kids can also have lots. Their son is the one that intends to come build his home first, and that is, that's what we're asking for. Again, we know that there's opposition. There are folks that live in the area that apparently don't want to see any change. We submit to you that this is exactly what's across the street. It's appropriate, and having 3 homes on this very large lot is not going to have any negative impact to traffic or to otherwise impact this area. It is appropriate. It, as staff found, it does fit within your comprehensive plan, as identified. That's question number 15. It's consistent with your comprehensive plan. And so we submit to you that it is both appropriate and reasonable for this property owner to be able to make this subdivision, which can only be done by rezoning it to AR. Again, happy to accept a condition that every lot has to be 5 acres. That takes care of this idea that they're gonna do this and sell it off to somebody. If they were doing that, that was their plan, they'd be here asking for 4 acres, and they're not. So we certainly appreciate your consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions. If I have any time to come back and respond in rebuttal, I'd be glad to do that. Other than that, we appreciate your consideration. This is in District 2, Mr. Chandler, your district, and, you know, we appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of? All right. Anyone here speaking opposition of?
Good evening. My name is Victor Boucher, 4506 Hudson River Church Road, and I'm here to speak in opposition of the rezoning request. This request was filed last year and discussed on November 6th in 2023, 391 days ago, and it was denied. 391 days later, the same application has been submitted, but in between, nothing has changed to the land. No improvements have been made. They didn't move to the land and then rezone it. It's sitting there. And now the application from last year to this year is identical, except that the ownership has changed from Mr. and Mrs. German to Mrs. German only. I think that should be in consideration in your final decision. I mean, why not doing something with the land, making improvements, and nothing has been done. And now you're copying that same application. Well, thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you, sir. I do have an email that came in from Ms. Carol Deaton. This is a letter of opposition. An individual will not be at the meeting tonight, but wants the commission to know her opposition to this request. This is Ms. Deaton. Ms. Deaton, if I recall correctly, lives on 6.3 acres or 6.6, so let me get exact. I didn't see this part in my packet, but anyway, that request. Anyone else in opposition?
My name's Dale Barall. I live at 633 Drakewoods Road. My home is in the center of 225 acres. Adjoins this property on 2 sides. And my opposition is due to the study that was done just in the last couple of years. And on that study, we wanted that area, we wanted it to stay A2 and A1. We wanted it to stay agriculture. And the goal was to stay 15 acres or larger home sites in that area. And it was single family, 15 acres or above was our goal. So what I oppose is 3 houses on the same home site. On that parcel of land, when it was created, there were 3 17-acre lots created, at the very same time. And that lot has 2 other lots next to it. And those people bought those lots and planned, there is one home on the adjoining lot, and right next to that is another homeowner. And I believe they had a sick child and might not have been able to come to the meeting tonight. I spoke with them. But they're quite upset that they put their home on the adjoining lot, and they bought it and planned to have just one neighbor. And the thought of having 3 in that is very disturbing to them. And their neighbor next door the same way. And my concern is those other lots are there, and there's nothing we can do about past sins. I know in this county, there are 1-acre lots zoned A1. There was plenty of that done prior to zoning. And there's nothing we can do to fix that. And just because of those prior sins doesn't mean that this body has to carry that on. Just because of those past sins doesn't mean we have to continue to carry that on. That the zoning in that area is A2. We created those lots with the minimum lot size of, I believe it was 15 acres or maybe 10 acres for A2, so that they couldn't be broken up. And the plan was a single family home on each of those lots. The presenter had said that, well, that's too large for a single home. Well, the other 2 lots created there, their owners that purchased their lots at the same time are planning single family home on each of those. And it's quite a bit different now that they're going to have 3 neighbors instead of 1 there. Those lots on that, creating 3 lots on the 17 acres, that's a very deep lot, and it's going to be bowling alleys. Now, I know it depends on, whenever you look at that, but it looks going to look much like some subdivision lots where you have very narrow lots that are very deep. One of the things I think the board needs to look at is there are some very large tracts of land around there that are owned by investors. Draw your attention to the next set of lots, the next parcel over, 150 acres or something like that, with a great deal of road frontage on Drake Woods Road as well as Jotumdale. If all it takes is showing that there are 5-acre lots, 4-acre lots in the area to get it switched to AR and in small lots, then an investor can very easily go in just a matter of 3 or 4 years, go from 1 parcel to 4 to 16 to 48 and multiples in a matter of 4 or 5 years, have 40, 50, 80 lots. There are also private drives in the area. So again, with some planning, could very easily in that parcel with plenty of road frontage on Jotumdale and Drake Woods, turn that into 60 lots. Is the county prepared for the infrastructure for that kind of development in that area? That was not what the plan that we went through a couple of years ago. And is that what you guys want, the development in that area? We're very close to the 85 corridor, and that's the kind of growth that we'd be looking at in this area.
I'll have to wrap you up,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition? All right, I'm gonna address a couple of key points right here before we move into a vote. I don't know the context it was stated that we designed that into 15 acre. I don't know who we was. But we done some measuring today, and from this potential rezone request to the closest AR property is 303 feet. Bordering the 109 acres is 3 AR properties. So this is not uncommon for the comprehensive plan for this request. I'm just trying to be clear, everybody in the room, this is following the comprehensive plan. It's uncommon, it's not uncommon to see such a vote go through or be denied. But to follow our comprehensive plan correctly, as you asked us to do, that's what the board, I think, will do tonight. One misconception is, put there, was we're about 380 some odd days from the last request. The one thing that was changed, and going back and watching the tape, was it was presented to the Board of Commissioners as 228 acres there, but actually Mr. Braun lives on 7 acres of land, and he's fighting a 5.9 acre rezone. The lady that sent this request in earlier was a 6.1 or 6.2 acre denial that didn't want to live beside a 5.6 rezone. So just be careful when you look in glass houses, not to throw rocks. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like a rebuttal, sir?
No, I don't need any additional time.
All right, thank you,
Please,
sir.
Chair's covered it.
Anyone else here to speak? We'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this rezone request be approved with 2 conditions. Condition one, it cannot be divided into more than 3 parcels, essentially equal. So it'd be roughly 5.6 acres each. And the effective date of the rezone approval would be when the Germans got the occupancy permit for their house.
The son German or the parent?
The first house built.
Okay.
When the first house is built and receives the occupancy permit, then that would be the effective date of the rezone approval.
I think we can do that. Second motion.
All right. So I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Doster. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just address a couple of points, not be lengthy. Mr. Brown is very correct on one point. All those ARs that were there that are shown on our site map, and probably some of those others that are considered A2, those are pockets that are all through the county like that, and those are the reasons that we have zoning in the county now. Because somebody saw a weakness and created inappropriate small parcels in pockets throughout the county. In my mind, that does not set the stage for making that appropriate, particularly when you look in general here, these are very large parcels out beyond that, and I will be careful to make sure that nothing that I'm presenting here tonight is going to give an indication that we're setting the tone that that's what we want that area to be. It is very clear it's large, predominantly large parcels of that.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none? Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Motion carried, Mr. Block. And did you hear the condition?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We can
Okay,
do the
I was just
condition.
worried you were going to speak.
Thank you. No, I understood there to be 2 conditions, no more than 3 acres.
There were 3 parcels,
3 parcels, excuse me.
Like
3
you-
parcels, as I suggested. And the other was it would be effective upon a family member of the Germans, requesting a building permit. That's it.
Occupancy.
Occupancy permit.
Yes, sir. And that's sufficient. Thank you. Mr. Scott?
All right, number 4, Suzanne Cook, applicant for her father. Tim Brown is requesting a dual rezone for his 28.28 acres from A1 to AR/A2. She is requesting to rezone 4.15 acre portion from A1 to AR to split to give to his daughter, and is requesting to rezone the remaining 24.1.3 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 1232 Shirley Road in Lawson on map 87, parcel 20 in District 4. No one came forward in opposition, no one came forward in favor of. After the public hearing and much discussion, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that, or are you comfortable with that?
No, I was not here for the planning and zoning meeting. I had my children, my husband was out of town, or I would have been here, but, I'd like to put a home there on the 4.15 acres. My parents are elderly. They still run a farm. They need the help, so.
Thank you. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve as requested.
A motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner May.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Motion carries, young lady.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, number 5, Benjamin and Mandy Allman are requesting to rezone their 6.26 acre from A2 to AR. To allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for her disabled parents. The property is located at 519 Poker Road in Danielsville on map 37, parcel 118 in District 2. The public hearing was opened. There were 3 people that came forward in favor of this particular rezone request. There was 1 person came forward in opposition to. After much discussion and the rebuttal by Mrs. Allman, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Ms. Almond, are you comfortable with that presentation, or would you like to add anything? You're
I
welcome to.
would like to add, because,
Absolutely.
I can take it just a minute.
You can.
So my husband and I bought the property about 10 years ago. Our house was built in 1991, and our neighbor's house was built, I believe, in 2001, so about 10 years later. And their house is built about 300 feet closer to the road than ours. So from our front porch, we can see their back door. For the bulk of our farm, we can see their back door and area. And I know that one concern that the Browns have is that they can see the accessory dwelling from their back porch. But my entire property is visible from their back porch. I meet the setback requirements, and we meet the fact that it is smaller. I already have to get 40 feet from my house from an accessory dwelling, and we have some other buildings. And the intention of it is it's a 2,400 square foot building. Half of it is going to be shop space. The other 1,200 square foot is ADU that's ADA compliant. My mother is already dependent upon a walker and has some other health issues, and so this was the easiest option to bring them out there to the property to be able to take care of them. We were not interested in subdividing. We don't want to split anything. We want to stay on our 6.26 acres with our house and the secondary. I pray that I get another 20 years or so with my parents, that even at their passing, it will stay personal use for my husband and I. we may move over there and let our kids take care of us at that point, so. But that's all I'll say to any rebuttal.
All right, thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this rezone request?
I would like to. I'm Morgan Barnett. I have designed their parent successor dwelling unit. I'm a certified aging and sleep specialist, and I designed this specifically for them and their needs. One thing that we really want to say is that their property is currently non-compliant at A2, and in order to bring their property into compliance is AR. We would not be here if their property was compliant, because we would have been able to get our accessory dwelling unit approved with that being the case. So that's all we're here for, regardless of what we're trying to do after that. We just want to bring it into compliance.
Name and address for the record.
Morgan Barnett, and I'm at 5863 Commerce Street in Commerce.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of it? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Come on.
Hey, I'm Scott Brown, 439 Pokey Road is where we live at. The thing of it is I want to ask each and every one of y'all, do you want something right in the back door of your house? I understand the medical issue they're talking about, but what it is I don't want this thing right in the back door of my house. Their house is sitting way over, their house is sitting across their property on the other side. This thing is right in dead in my back door of the house. That's why I don't want it there. I don't have to walk out the back door and look at it every day. I mean, to start with, the paper said they was gonna do a split of 4 acre, 2 acre. That was the first split. He said, okay, crick your head if you want to. I'm just telling you, that's what.
Address us, please.
Please address us.
So, that's what it started with. I mean, anybody don't want it in their backyard.
Understand? Anything else?
But if y'all do approve, there's going to have to be some stipulations about it.
I've been bored.
You know, I'm just saying.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition of it? All right, ma'am, would you like to rebut on that?
Just real quick, it was mentioned back at the planning and zoning about us putting some type of buffer or fencing. The problem is I'm working from the rear of my property to, I don't know, about 300 feet up and then another 300 feet to the road. And so I'm not sure any type of fencing or anything is going to block their view of it. I do understand that they have a pool in their backyard and they're concerned about privacy issues back there. But a fence might solve that on their end, but I really don't have, I don't know where my fence would start and where the fence would stop in order to even comply with trying to buffer, because their porch sits up, you know, they're gonna see it, either way. And like I said, I do meet the setback requirements, to put a pole barn or anything on that property, and it's not off of Mr. Brown's back door, it is on my property, and it's just on that far side, so, thank you very much.
Thank you. And just, because we're at the rebuttal stage, just for the record, you are correct, young lady. Had this not been a rezone coming from an A2, which is legal non-conforming, to a conforming, we would not be here today.
Correct.
All right. I'll close the floor. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I vote we approve this rezone request as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner May. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Just some questions on the council on the privacy fence issue. Number one, Carlos, Tracy, what are the setback requirements for property?
Yeah,
For accessory?
15 feet from the side, 20 feet from the rear, and 60 feet from the center line of the road.
On any building, so if this was just a pole barn, that would be,
Right, that would be the same, yes, sir.
Ms. Allen, based on y'all's plan, how far are you from the property line?
I believe our pad, that we're cleared out is about 25 feet. We've positioned positioned it kind of at the back of the property because the driveway dead ends into that, and then in the front, we do have sheep and goats and, other farm structures out there.
It's actually gonna be back further in the property than your house is.
It actually almost lines up with our property because we do sit back. It also gave us, had to get 100 feet from the well in order to satisfy the septic system requirements as well. And then we do have some pretty deep woods in the back, and we didn't wanna destroy all the vegetation, so we picked the less invasive part of the property as far as trees.
All right, any other discussion, gentlemen?
I have a question, P&Z, Tracy, if the owners had chosen to place a mobile home on the property, they wouldn't have even had to have approached us for that. Currently, in our current P&Z, for an accessory dwelling for an elderly or disabled parent, I believe it states that a mobile home can be.
For a financial, a medical hardship, yes, sir, but it has to be removed after the hardship no longer exists.
Whenever that may happen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Just for the information to the board, going on this, I spent a good bit of time in conversation with Eddie Pritchett. He was very, very helpful. Like there might be some similar circumstances that would allow this to be done, or would allow satisfaction here with Alabama zone, could not come up with a better solution. This does not involve a division of property. And the 84 class, this property is still not large enough to be divided, cannot be divided. We're not talking about creating an additional parcel, just a category that, because of their request, it had to get into compliance with that zoning class. Otherwise, we would be.
So we need to make a condition that it can never be rezoned to an R3 or one.
Can't do that.
All right. All right, any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Mack.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, motion carries. Mr. Scott?
Number 6, John LaFever with Docomo LLC, applicant for Faye Carter, is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of the 32.91 acre property from A1 to R1. To split and sell, the remaining acres will stay in the A1 zone. The property is located at 173 Jack Sharp Road in Carver, map 26, parcel 1662 in District 5. During the public hearing, no one came forward in favor of, and no one came forward in opposition to. After much discussion about going from A1 to R1, we looked at the comprehensive plan and districts in that particular area, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Mr. LaFever? Are you comfortable with that presentation, or would you like to add anything to it, sir?
I'll be very brief. Most people like me better the more brief I am. We buy ugly houses. We own one of the largest franchises in Atlanta. We buy ugly houses and make them pretty. This is a house that's a double wide that's pretty ugly, and we plan on purchasing it and making it pretty and resell it. We purchased from Mrs. Carter another lot that's 2 lots down from them, and they rezoned the one in between us. I think she sold it to her nephew. But that's pretty simply all we want to do is to clean it up and sell it.
Existing,
Correct. That's a double wide. It's a pretty nice one. It's pretty bad shape, but it's had an information.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else here in favor of this rezone request? All right, anyone opposition to this rezone request? All right, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, then we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dawson. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kirk. Gentlemen, any discussion?
Yes, typically, I didn't see any response on this, from anybody in the district calling me, so I'll support this, but I do have a question. It talks about on the application, the 2 mobile homes, are there actually 2 structures there, individual residences, or is the double wide, 1 plus, is that equal to 2?
There's a double wide, I think that's what it's talking about, it's just two trailers put together, double wide.
Okay. So I'm trying to make sure that we're not rezoning something,
Yeah, one structure.
one structure.
Would you clarify that? Is it a double wide, a manufactured double wide unit, or is it 2 single wide homes placed together?
It's a double wide, put together, one home, one structure, put together.
All right, any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Mr. President, after this, the clarity would have been the board, but like the substitute motion to the zoning be approved contingent on 1 structure for clarity. But if it's there, it's there, there's no problem, but if there is an issue with the definition, then that would be clarified in that motion. Would you, Mr. Kirk, would you be amendment to that? Agree with that?
All right. If there's no other discussion, Commissioner Kirk, is actually on you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Motion carries, sir.
Number 7. Regina Childs is requesting to rezone 2 4-acre portions of her 104.43 acre property from A2 to AR to allow 2 splits. 1 to give her son and the other to sell. The remaining acreage will stay in the A2 zone to retain. The property is located at 2156 Rogers Mill Road in Danielsville, on map 40, parcel 001 in District 1. No one came forward in favor of this particular rezone request. No one came forward in opposition to. After much discussion, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Childs? Are you comfortable with that presentation, or would you like to give us some more information?
The only other information, one that I want to sell was my deceased parents' home.
Okay.
That sits on 2 acres, but they said we have to do 4 acres.
Understand.
And the other 4 is to give our son who wants to build.
Just have one question for clarity. In viewing that, there's one of the signs is on the back part of the property on Chandler Farm Road. Is that just to give visibility from that side?
That is we're gonna take 4 acres, it's the end of the property.
Okay, so that
Or-
corner
Yeah,
for the other, so what this is what's shown to us, where your mom's house was on Rogers Mill Road, that is 1 4-acre
Right.
request. And the other is in the far corner,
it's on the
in
end.
Chandler Farm Road.
On the end of the property. That's where he wants to build.
Yeah, this is.
Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Motion, this request to approve this year.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen?
This is another one I look hard at, because it's you travel through that area, that's one of the most, with the exception of Lake Deerfield, that you really can't see, that's one of the most open areas in the county. And, certainly be concerned about change there, in my mind, and the way we have, as a board, operated, essentially without exception. When there's a family request like this, we view it as sort of not setting precedent, that it's very limited in scope. That becomes more acceptable to me, understanding those circumstances, that it is limited in scope.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Dodd.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, old business, thank you. Mr. Scott?
We have a subdivision plat approval, and I'll let Ms. Packard take care of that.
For Jay Pridgeon, and he is wanting phase 6 of the Scrapper Mill subdivision preliminary plat approved. The rezone for this property was approved by the Board of Commissioners on July 1st of this year. And it was to rezone an approximate 25-acre portion to R1 to develop a 15-lot subdivision with the remaining 49.66 acres to remain in the A2 zone. It was approved as presented with no conditions. The total tract at that time was 74.66. The only 25 acres was approved for phase 6. On October the 21st of this year, zoning staff received the preliminary plat and stormwater management concept plan. And upon our review, we found the preliminary plat and stormwater plan satisfying all requirements on our checklist. On November the 5th, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously approved the final plat, as Mr. Pridgeon was in attendance and answered all questions. No conditions were made for the approval. And Mr. Pridgeon is in attendance tonight to answer any questions that you may have. And, I believe you've already taken a look at the map that we had kind of pieced together of all the 6 sections and how they connect. There is a potential for a 7th and final phase that could possibly be developed from the remaining 49.66 acres in the future, but nothing is on the books for that.
All right, thank you.
They have the map down there, so that's together showing the phases.
If anybody would like to see it, pass it down. We don't have a monitor here. We've got artists in the group somewhere.
Internally done.
Right, we couldn't see before we was.
Any questions? Any questions for Mr. Pridgeon?
Just, Mr. Pridgeon, just, thank you for being here. I made a request to see this here tonight rather than attending to it at our last meeting. Your request for approval is just for phase 6.
Just for phase
And we can look at phase 6 and I can see that, I see everything good. What we could not see is how it ties in.
Gotcha.
To make sure that there are no irregularities, nothing.
Right, there's not. The reason we're doing this phase the way we are is, but just as a reminder, is when we did phase 5, y'all requested that when we do the next phase, to tie it to the Scrapper Mill, so we can tie the main water line to the main water line on Sprouting Mill to make everything connect throughout the whole subdivision. So that's why we did this exactly like y'all requested.
So thank you for providing us, Tracy. Okay.
Yeah, Tracy got the credit for that one. I drew one by hand and kind of colored it, I thought it made hers is much better. That's all.
All right, gentlemen.
All the covenants be the same as.
Yeah, same covenants as the rest of the subdivision.
Gentlemen,
I'll make a motion that, this preliminary plat deed.
motion by Commissioner Nash, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Chapman. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Motion carried. All right, gentlemen, consider selecting a vendor for request for qualification for engineering services for the Madison County Waterline Expansion Community Development Block Grant. Did Mark Beatty ever make it? Okay. Mark, there he is. I'll look at Mark Beatty. Gentlemen, this project was scored by 4 individuals. And I'll speak for 3. The scoring qualifications is in your sheet, with AMT Engineering Architect Planners coming in at the top, Phillips Technical Services coming in second, along with Turnip City Engineers coming in second, and Carter Sloop coming in second. They all 3 of those tied, with a half point difference between them. After speaking to at least 3 of the 4 that graded them, the concern was in the scoring sheets, the cost was not taken into account. So going back and looking at the cost on this, and even asking for a recommendation from the ones that graded, the only one I haven't spoke with for a recommendation, but 3 out of the 4 recommendations I got was to use Phillips Technical Services, which again was one of them to come in second. Main driver behind that was the familiarity with working. Phillips is currently doing a waterline project for us in Comer. He's currently meeting us tomorrow on Hope Thompson Road. We just work with him a lot. But the main reason was the cost in this. I don't really want to get into the weeds on everything. But gentlemen, we do have to make a vote tonight as to which one we want to move forward with to be able to turn it into tomorrow to the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission.
So, what is the recommendation?
The recommendation was for Phillips Technical Service from 3 of the 4. I won't speak for the 4th. And the only reason I won't speak is because.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah. He's here at the table, he can make his own recommendation. I just want to put it out there for the other 3 that's wasn't in attendance tonight. Well, actually, one of them.
You want me to read it off or something like that?
Here, one of my experiences with Phillips has to deal specifically with getting a contract based on conversation that was not had between the governing bodies. And as a contractor, I've got to say also in conclusion, that when it goes my way, it's fine, if it doesn't, it's not. But that's, and I think, personally, I think that we're at the stage where we need to examine things beyond cost, because you get what you pay for. And that's, the scoring is evidence of that.
and we were looking at qualifications, we did not ask for price.
So I have a motion by someone on the list before you.
So we have, on the score sheet, AMT scores higher, what we do not have a score sheet with prices.
Correct. I've done some quick notes. Philip Technical Services, I'm just gonna go top to bottom. Philip Technical Services is a 1,000 PR upfront for the PR part and 10, not to exceed 10,000 on total project cost. Thomas and Hutton, PR was 4,500 to 5,500 with a 10% total project cost. AMT, 4,000 PR with a 6% total project cost. Carter Sloop, PR 5,000 with a 12% total project cost. And Turnip Seed was just an overall 9% total cost, and that is your top four candidates right there, being three of them tallied the same. The total project cost is actually, the grant is for $1 million, so just rough numbers, 10%, $1,000.
So you have, what would be the total project cost for this one?
No, sir. It wasn't a cost for proposal. More qualification cost, and so I put the numbers in it.
The grants were graded on, 3 different criteria that Nancy Fraser gave trustees. There wasn't one for price per se, but is price competitive? Just wanted to say.
So the RFQ documentation did not have price as a,
It only states is price competitive. And it's a score of 0, 1, and 2, 4 good and excellent, with 3 choices.
RFQ was put together by the Reading Commission.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I did not put this one
It was
together.
put together by Northeast Georgia, same as the rating sheet, scoring sheet.
This project will probably extend past, the grant amount due to inflation and the distance that this line will have to cover to service the initial need. So we are probably gonna have an extension past the $1 million mark of the grant. Having to play on this.
Bill. Here again, the price technically not being a factor in it. There were 2 projects that, in my mind, that were idea projects, but both were in the $400,000 plus overrun range. That being Medico and the Mines Road, Louis Buffalo, and
I'm not familiar with which engineering firm done that.
Was
Is that right?
isn't that correct?
Philip did, he did the, 72 project, the Elberton, he did the Mines Road project, Rogers Mill Road. Of course, you know, everything went haywire in through the COVID period where prices just changed tremendously overnight. It was not a reflection of change orders or anything like that. It's just from the time it was conceived till it was done, pipe doubled in price, and there wasn't any real changes to reflect that cost. There was some federal funding for that, but it did not cover the cost of the project between the time it was awarded and the time the project was done. But that was, I would think that was a reflection on the engineering as it was just the way things are in the economy during that period of time.
All right. General, entertain a motion.
Out of an abundance of caution, and that the qualifying documentation didn't specifically say price, I want to be careful not saying I just promote this. I think we need to be a little more sincere with our documentation next time, but with that said, out of abundance of caution, then I think we should approve the scoring as presented with A&T.
All right, I have a motion for A&T. Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion?
I agree with Commissioner Dawson. I feel pretty handicapped about price to one of the components of the evaluation.
Yeah. I agree with the engineer over here.
All right. Any other discussion?
And I think either one, I do want to say for the record, I think any one of them would give us a good product, but most of the same.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dawson, second by Commissioner May. There's no other discussion, gentlemen. Yes. Terry?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Consider the proposed amendments to the Fire Protection Emergency Rescue Service.
This is the same contract as y'all seen at the last meeting that was redlined previously. This is just in the final format. Section.
Is, the change highlighted here?
No, it was highlighted at the last,
Okay.
meeting.
So it's in,
Mike, do you remember what section number that was?
Jackson probably does.
well, I had it with me, but I know.
I can pull it up, but it was right up under the fund section of it, I can pull it up for a second.
It was just a change in the way the amount was.
It was to keep up with the.
Okay, that's the third section, A is,
Some numbers taken out, which is down to that has been moved,
yeah.
or equal to the previous year's fund.
Yeah. Yeah. $1 million tax value is not equal to the previous year's contract, right?
Yes, sir.
Whichever is right. Okay.
I think the number before was 682,000 or something like that.
And that number went back to 2008, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. That was the last year's number at that time. Which, is way out of date. Just out of date, needs to be cleaned up. Yeah.
So before I ask for a motion of approval, Mark, Jackson, y'all both fully aware of the changes that were made, everything's good, y'all? Okay, this vote's fixing to happen, okay. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion on this.
We would approve this contract, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I support everything they do, I just have heartburn on whichever drink is greater quality. And I'm not trying to take that away from anybody, I understand budget concerns, but I don't know if we ever have a contract with anybody else. I understand they do stuff that other people don't, but whichever is greater clause, are we giving deference to the fire department above anything? One mill's one thing, previous amount one thing, but whichever is greater.
Well, how you gonna determine it? Unless you say whichever is greater. I mean, that's what it's about. It's setting a minimum and a maximum. I guess we could write it as the maximum is 1 mil, and the minimum is whatever they got the year before. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah, cause it's, the phraseology is kind of what.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a problem with anybody else, but it's a good share.
Y'all have any issue with that, guys?
Did you hear that?
I did.
Would you like to amend your motion to state that?
Yeah, that's stated, yes.
As stated. In the second, Mr. Kirk, would you like,
Oh, yeah,
as stated?
yeah, that's that.
What's the motion?
To set the max at 1 mil and a minimum at the year previous.
That's the effect of the language now. You're just talking about using different words.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Okay.
I'm not saying, I am not being afraid so.
I was just trying to make it work.
If we're not the effect of the language, then that's fine, we'll just leave it as it is and make it clean.
My understanding is that the intent is that the millage rate, fire department set their budgets based on the millage rate in 2024, and there's a significant millage rate decline in 2025, then we had trapped them, the millage rate going down.
So,
We're sticking with the original motion, which is to leave everything as stated.
I'm in agreement with it. I'm in agreement with that, if that's what we want to do.
All right.
Whichever way is legally clearest.
Yeah.
I think the way it's stated is legally clear.
So we let the lawyer do the input.
Well, no, I think actually, Christina, did this come from the firefighters?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but I thought it was perfectly clear.
well, but you have to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion, gentlemen? All right. Hearing no other discussion, Commissioner Kirk, it's on you, sir.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
And we do have fun at our meeting. Come back.
Don't depend on us to learn anything about English.
Should have asked if there was English major in there with the German.
English, well, they all got good at English, got to be, right?
All right, consider approving the resolution to amend. Oh, I skipped something. All right. Consider approving the resolution to amend the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia Defined Benefit Plan with Madison County Employees and Plan Amendment number 4, Adoption Agreement, Amendment number 4 for the creation of a new Water Department employees and the Board of Commissioners. Any questions on this one, gentlemen?
I would like to point out, there's 2 documents stapled together, so the second document is the adoption agreement amendment number 4 on page 3. We specifically talked about the top section 11.06 at our last meeting, and this is where Commissioner Doster asked for some clarification language from ACCG that a pursuit section 11.06B, participants who are Class 5 employees may purchase as additional credited service up to a lesser of 1, 5 years, or 2, the actual number of years of service with the Madison County Industrial Development Authority, subject to the following, and those are the 5 criteria, which is, these are all criteria that we have discussed in previous meetings. This is just ACCG's legal verbiage for that.
Thank you. Mr. Doster, that seemed to fit your request, sir?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, you'll vote on number 8, and then number 8, those documents will be an exhibit into number 9.
8 is the resolution approving the amendment to your plan, which is the second document.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve agenda item number 8.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Doster.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, consider an intergovernmental agreement between the Industrial Development Building Authority and the Board of Commissioners transition to water and sewer department operations. Any questions on this one, Joe?
Was there any revisions from what we saw last week?
Yes. Yes, so you'll see there's been a lot of stuff added in here. Me and Mike sent a few versions back and forth to each other. Really, number 1, a lot of that is the same. There's just some legal terminology inserted back in. Number 2 goes into more of the specifics of the GEPA loans and how those are handled. There's gonna be a promissory note to the AARA that was approved at the last meeting. That was per Mike's request, which will also be an exhibit into this. Mr. Pruitt added section 3, the terminology for the contract, at the best that we could with the knowledge we currently have with the future intent with other counties, municipalities. I skipped part of section 2. When we talk about the bonds, we inserted that language that all the bond payments will remain the same with the IDA. Account ownership, loan ownership will remain the same with the IDA. We did confirm with the auditor on all accounts payable and receivable with the effective date, January 1, closing date, December 31st, and he understands that the audits both entities, he understands there's going to be a little bit of a gap there with the numbers. We also went back in and added section 5 with SWOS and that allocation. I worked with Ms. Payne on terminology that her and the attorney needed on how those funds will be dispersed. This is what the IDBA we talked about at their last meeting, and their recommendation or request for their recommendation. For number 4, employees, you've already had that information. Mr. Pruitt did make it clear to me, and you'll have this at the end of December on the 30th. We'll present a job description and an organizational chart for the water department. Per our ordinance, when we create a new position or role under the BOC, the board has to vote on that. So all that can come at a later date, and I've already spoke to Mr. Pruitt about that. And then the remaining of the document was previously in the previous drafted version. You also have all of the exhibits except for one. The agreement you just approved will be an exhibit into this document as well. And then the GEPA document, that's an exhibit. This is the one where Mr. Pruitt asked for an amendment to the, I think it was the promissory note specifically. And we spoke to GEPA, and they agreed with Mr. Pruitt's recommendation for that change. They're working on adding that. They actually have to redraft that loan for what that provisionary note will be. This is coming under the BOC. That changes.
Any questions, gentlemen? Thank you for saying this has not been an easy task, by no means. Nope. No,
And on time.
Made a motion to approve agenda item number 9. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you for saying. Susan, Everybody else is safe. New business. Consider a capital permit extension for John Bridges located in District 4. Bridges.
Bridges.
Oh, there he is.
Mr. Bridges is requesting a temporary extension permit. So he's had about a year with an active building permit. So far, he's up to he just had a passing slab plumbing inspection. And he's doing a block wall foundation for the basement. And that's as far as he's gotten. I'll let him explain the circumstances.
Good evening. Due to part of it last year when the cold weather hit, the rainy, winter, we didn't get our footing inspection done until mid-March, end of March. I got contracted out to go to Alabama and do a remodeling job most of the summer. So I haven't had any time to work on it during the summer. We got back and then I got the wall finished up. In fact, I'll be calling him probably pretty quick so I can pour the slab. I'll just finish putting the gravel in today.
If you've been out of town, has anybody been staying there?
Just my wife, on and off.
So are you back working in the area?
Yes.
Here now?
Yes. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
actually, it was a big remodeling job, somebody contracted me to do over there in Fruitvale, Alabama.
So what kind of contractor are you?
I do a little bit of everything. I was a general contractor up until about 2 years ago, and we closed our company down due to not being able to have any help.
And so anyone helping you construct this house?
Yes. Yeah, I have some guys that are helping me, but I'm mainly doing most of the work myself with my family.
Is there a completion date?
I'm hoping by the midsummer, if sooner.
Mr. Pritchett, do you have a recommendation?
If the board wishes to extend this permit for another 6 months, I would just suggest that they put a condition, must show progress, at least have it in the dry, with a passing rough-in inspection, within the next, say, 3 to 4 months. And then that would give him time to call for a semi-power and then possibly a final in that 6 month period.
So, just ask Mr. Bridges, so within 3 months, you feel like you could have it in the dry?
Yes, I believe so. Maybe 4.
So you good with 4 then, if you do that before?
I would go ahead and give him this.
Give me the 6 months, but I'm just saying, the conditions.
Yes.
So I want to make the condition specific since you were talking about that.
Yes.
So we wanted that 4 months. Okay. So I will, make a motion to extend the permit for 6 months on the condition that it's dried in 4 months.
Okay.
From today's.
Passing rough-in inspection.
Yeah, passing the rough-in inspection. Okay.
When does the current permit expire?
He has actually extended his permit, basically, and I can extend it 90 days. So he's extended his permit itself. Just the TCO has to come through you guys. I mean, the
Yeah.
So I'll make that in the form of a motion,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
All right.
I made it for you.
Second motion. Motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Mr. Bridges, you stated, this, just for that you would go to Alabama and do some work. You have a license, a general contractor's license?
Not anymore. We did. I was working for somebody else doing, cabinets and woodwork and flooring.
That's fine.
Oh, that's
Heard
perfect.
it, it is, just a question.
No, I'm hoping to get my GC license. We had it through my company with my father.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Chandler? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You understand the condition?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Consider a capital permit extension for Otis Faber located in District 1.
There it is.
I need a little more time. The same, I actually work out of state, I am a superintendent for a Georgia-based contractor, I do work in Spartanburg. I'm averaging weekly about 35 hours a week on my home. We are building it ourselves. When my home burnt, basically took my insurance and said, I'm 60 years old, I can't jump into 30 or 40 years. This is what we do, we own the land. We've been there a little over 30 years. And right now I have a camper set up. My wife and her disabled mother stays there. My wife works part-time. Ashley, she's home 2-3 days a week with her. Mother-in-law has some family, about half a mile away that helps kind of, honestly, I considered renting a place. Living in a camper is not the easiest thing. And, it's just nothing out there. Anything I can find affordable, it's not trash. It's got 90 people waiting on it. And, I need 6 months on mine. I don't plan on being 6 months. I did have some setback on my inspection here a couple of weeks ago. Had some egress window issues, had to order them, they're in. I think it was minor stuff, but anyhow, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, so Mr. Traver, has had an extension before. The home is in the dry. He did have a roughing inspection. There were a few items he had to address. He's working on that, and, like I said, he's making good progress. This is a masonry block building, so this is taking, it's not easy to work with.
You have a recommendation, sir?
I'm good with extending the permit, on the condition that he can wrap it up in the next 6 months.
Any questions, gentlemen? All right. No questions, Commissioner Matt? Motion. No, and motion, yes, right.
I make a motion, camp extension for 6 months.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Now, Commissioner Matt?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir. Consider approving a 2025 full-year contract for sport photography for Recreation Department, sport photography services. Somebody from the rec department here to discuss this.
They were supposed to be going to do that, they are aware of that.
You were supposed to do this the next meeting.
Motion to postpone.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, gentlemen?
Yes.
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 Discuss the 2025 beer and wine license applications.
So, these are the ones that we received and kind of where they're at in the application process. On the second page, you'll see we have a few that aren't completed yet. Ms. Baker has been in touch with those vendors and she's working on those. And then at the bottom, you'll see the applications not received. Family Dollar, we've reached out to, we're having issues with reaching out to corporate. Their management has changed over since last year. We're flying out in touch with some corporate there. And then the last one you see is not eligible for a license. So we put that on there so you can see the difference between last year and this year. I'm doing some changes.
All right. So at this time, you're asking for a motion?
No. Motion will be December 30th.
All right.
Just for, we all see. Okay.
Any urgent matters that I'm unaware of? Hearing none, executive session to discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, potential litigation.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dawson.
Move adjourned.
Thank y'all so much for coming. Oh.
Gentlemen, I'd like to apologize. I mean, that was 20 years ago, and I can remember going into planning and building permit, built my house 20 years ago, things just flipped it off, and I can't even remember why. I'm pleased with that because that's like, I've never heard of that. That's really not I was saying, you know, build their neighbors. I guess they could drag in mobile homes, get permits, so I guess we got to be but I'm good at that. Good job. Extremely good at that. I've never heard of
Yeah.